All right, so taking a look at gold futures as we head towards the open today on Sunday night. Where are we at in the structure? Let's check it out. So you can see that we've topped out in what we're counting as a wave three. Eventually, I'll do another video showing you the entire structure, but we're counting this as a wave three top, which we would expect to be followed by a three wave correction. So we certainly did get corrective action down here, calling this an A wave, and then this bounce, which didn't really measure well, trying to measure this as an impulse to see if that was the low. But another thing that I've learned over time is that if it takes a certain amount of time to achieve a top, let's say, depending on what degree we're talking about, for this to have been all of wave four, it was too quick, just in terms of the amount of time to go from this top on April 12th to this bottom, just 15 days, not even 3 weeks later, seemed too quick. So you combine that idea with this being too quick for all of wave four, and then also, although this did have a nice reaction off of there, anyway I was trying to measure this, I had a hard time coming up with 5 waves, even though it did pop above the top of wave three, but that's allowable for a B wave. And then now we got something impulsive looking, which is what we would expect to see in a C wave. So that's what we're tracking. That's what it's looking like. And that's what we are tracking. This is just a 1 hour chart. So if I zoom in a bit, now what you can see is a potential one, 2, 3, and then it's either some kind of a triangle, which kind of reminds me of what I have on my crude oil chart. But even if it's not a triangle, it's indicative of a wave four of some degree, just given the amount of overlap. And then look at this move. Wow. I mean, is that just the final thrust down? For this move to be 5 waves, it actually, the overall structure for rather this entire move to be 5 waves, it did terminate dead in the center of a ratio box for the ratio of a wave 5. So 1, 2, 3, whatever, triangle, 4, 5. So this seems reasonable to think of this as a C wave, as in A, B, C of 4. And then another ratio that we follow with Elliott wave is the ratio of A and C. How do they relate to each other? In terms of their percentages, the lengths. If you compare them to each other, this yellow 100 fib would be if this C wave is the same length as the A wave. It's not unusual at all. Very standard-ish kind of move. So that's why the fib is there. Price comes down, rattles around the fib, and then begins what is potentially in a 5-wave move up. And then a 3-wave correction. Just what you'd want to see. Holding where you'd want to see it hold. And then a reaction. So if this is going to be a 1-2 setup off the low, price is not going to come down much further. I mean, could it pull back before it breaks out? Yes. Now, this is why it's a great clue here using basic Elliott wave ideas. If this is a 1-2 setup, price really should not come back down much below somewhere in here. I mean, that's going to drive bulls crazy if price comes back down to just call it 23, 25. What you'd really want to see is that price, see this consolidation? It's hard to see because it's a 1 hour chart, but if I just zoom in a little bit here without changing the time frame, this little consolidation area, if the bulls mean business at the open tonight, I would expect to not see this come down below there. I mean, can it? Of course it can. Could it come all the way back down into here and then advance? Yes, but I'm just saying, ideally, similar to what I was looking at in the silver chart, same kind of idea. If this is really a 1-2 setup, then ideally this is going to keep going now, and it's going to get above. It's going to make a new high right here, and it's going to keep coming. and maybe it gets up and back tests. If it can get up overnight and early into the week, and then back test this general area, that's fine. But ultimately, you want to see it come all the way back up in here to where that previous wave 3 terminated, ideally. So this would really go a long way to proving up what's going on here. And clearly, the 100 fib is clearly resistance pretty much on any time frame. So not only is it resistance, but if you can get above it, if price can get above there and back test it and hold it, that would also be fantastic. And why all the fuss about this? Well, because given where this is the ideal. This is kind of a shallow wave forward, but it's in the ideal parameters between the 236 and the 382. I'm talking the larger structure. So what the fuss is about is if you take the ratio of 1 through 3, let me just put it on a 4-hour to make it a little easier. just to show you. So if the ratio of this entire move up to this 3, and if this is the bottom of wave 4, then where this wave 5 can project to, if that's really the low down there, then you're talking, call it 2,700 to 2,780. I mean, if is that worth trading for? That's a whole lot of price action. You're talking 400 pips. Yeah. So that's the deal. So that's what we're looking for. So it just in terms of actual parameters, the simplest way to look at this is you want to see price. Well, obviously it needs to get above the most recent high from Friday, right? Friday morning. So you want to see it get above 23.52. You really want to see it hold this low right here is the first thing, 23.40. But really to hold structure, you don't want to see it come down too far down in here, although it could. So just call it 23.25 right here. And then this low is very obviously 23.10. So 23.10, 23.40, 23.10, and then the low. But look, if it's going to come, it's going to lose. Once it loses 23.25, I think it's much more likely it's going to see there's another target down here. If A equals C could be 1,236 or the 1,382. Yes, absolutely. So if again, similar to what I was saying in the silver analysis, if it needs a deeper wave 4, meaning somehow that wave C is not done and this is somehow wave 4 still, then you're going to see an impulsive move down to finish this off. So that's going to be a great clue. And we already have what could be an impulsive move up off the low and a corrective retrace, and then something else that also looks impulsive. So these are great clues, just the way the price wave structure even looks. Once you understand what does an impulse look like compared to what a corrective wave looks like, that's really the deal. So we have very good parameters. Now, the last thing I'm going to do, or actually it looks like I've already done it actually, my buddy in Armando, who's running a fantastic trading club called the Professor Trades, he has a slightly different fib setup. And the simplicity of it is wonderful and is very helpful as a clue generator. So these white fibs are an Elliott wave idea, right? With the third, if this is a 1-2 setup, you want to see gold get all the way up here to 2,400. And if that's going to happen, just as I say there's resistance in Elliott wave, we know that the 100 fib can be an interesting level that can provide resistance. You need to get above it. Sometimes it'll resist it, rattle around, and then get above it and then back test it. Well, this Elliott wave level of this 100 lines up very nicely with an Armando fib setup right here, which is the 27. It's 100. It's 100 of this move plus 27% of it. I've seen price hit that over and over again in any instrument on any time frame. And then also the 618 If that's the extension of this wave right here, this swing from this swing low to this swing high. This is nano stuff we're talking. But when these fibs line up with the Elliott wave fibs, I like it. Now, I could also tinker around to keep this video short. I'll just do one little extra tinkering. See, if I move Armando's fib up there to make this the swing high, then it moves these fib levels up. But I don't really see the efficacy of doing that at the moment because there is some confluence right here. So there you go. That's the deal. If this is bull city, man, the target is way up here to finish this wave 5. I mean, it's crazy. Call it 2,700, 2,780. All right. There you go. So we'll see what happens at the Open tonight. Want to see immediate bullish action to make the bulls continue to be smiling. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Take good care.